Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through the round 3 game between Richmond versus Sydney, in which Richmond just provided all the pressure, too much pressure, to the point that that third quarter they absolutely ran over the top of the Swans. I believe their pressure for the whole quarter was 223 on the pressure factor, and the highest pressure you can get on that is 375. And the lowest is, I think, at like 75. And I think the Swans are at 173. And I think for portions of that quarter, Richmond might have even been at 230, 235, which just shows the pressure they put the Swans under. And to see that what's ranked elite is 200, and for them to be going the whole quarter at 223 and some parts of the quarter at 230, 235, really just showed the amount of pressure they put on, and they rightfully deserve the win. The only positive the Swans can really take out of it is that playing at their worst, fumbly, and not really hitting their targets, got them to, I think it was one of their second worst turnover game in the last 5 years. And they got within 5 points of Richmond, so that's about the only positive, but Richmond honestly deserved to kick away further and win that game by 30 points or so. They were just the better side on the day. So yeah, before we get into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into this recap. So Tim Taranto, 132, and I don't think he did have a good first quarter, but he just continued that on. And is this the Tim Taranto of old? 893k. Is he potentially one of the first upgrade targets? I just want to check because we don't have any. He's not going to be forward. That was from last video. Taranto, that's going to get to it. When's his bye? When is his bye? Round 15. Okay, that is the perfect bye to jump onto. So is Tim Taranto potentially a trade in the next couple of weeks? We'll wait and see on that one. But yeah, he was amazing, 132. Did butcher the ball quite a bit, but did his job, and yeah, and ended up being one of the more influential ones, and probably up there in the Brownlow vote for this game. I think 3 will probably go to Boston, 2 to Taranto, and 1 to Bolton. Heaney may sneak a vote over Taranto or something like that, or Bolton or something, because he was immense, but in the end, it's probably mostly going to go to Richmond. I wouldn't say all 6 are going to go to Richmond in this game. I think Heaney probably steals a vote, but we'll wait and see on that one, obviously. Vlosten, probably the best on ground. He was amazing with 46 and 44 when the Swans kept on coming in the last quarter and in the second half in general. He was the one that just kept on intercepting. I think he ended up with 7 intercept marks and 14 or 15 intercept possessions. Yep, he just did exactly what Tom Stewart did to Adelaide. And yeah, the Swans probably missed the boat in their selection a little bit with Caleb Mitchell, and that's why I don't think he is a pickup anyway. I reckon they probably are ruining not going a Constanti or someone like that can provide a little bit more pressure, as they seemed they needed another guy that was able to just run around the park, and I don't think that Mitchell really gave that to them. He was good in the first quarter, but didn't really do much outside of that. So yeah, we really just let their backline sort of just run free. Baker, 113, he did pretty good. Nothing in the last quarter, so he was on 113 at 3/4 time. Yeah, he may be in a little bit of strife. It's a fine or a 1 week suspension, that one, I reckon, as he was late to the contest, and some will say that he was in the act of spoiling it, but he was late to the contest. So and he didn't make contact with the ball, which I think will be the reason why he gets a fine or a suspension, but we'll wait and see on that one. Bolton, 106. He was huge, and yeah, one of those. He's an impact player, and when an impact player goes large on AFL Fantasy, you sort of realize that they've had a massive impact on the game, and that was what Bolton did yesterday. He kicked, I think, 2 goals, 2 in the end or something, and yeah, just a pretty big effort from him. Or maybe it was 2. I think it was 2 goals, 1 in the end. Yeah, just looking at this, looks like they took away a behind. So yeah, he was absolutely huge, and one of the major reasons why they won in the end. Daniel Rioli were 99, a half-backer that doesn't really score, like we were saying in the Western Bulldogs recap. These type of guys generally have 1 or 2 games where they score. Daniel Rioli, a couple of years ago, we thought when he moved down back that he could generally be a 90, 95 off half-back, that next sort of wave. but it seems like he's just not going to get that sort of scoring. So yeah, a little bit worrying that we're sort of running out of those. I mean, we're not really running out of those options off half back for sort of guys that are going to score that. But yeah, no one's ever going to be able to match Nick Dacos' levels of scoring off half back like he is at the moment. But it is annoying that Daniel Rioli couldn't sort of do that sort of 95 on the regular. Then you have Reece Mansell, Pickett, Miller, Short. Again, Short dropping in cash. Currently 8-10k, but it's going to drop further, I would suggest. Probably 30k, so he's going to be in the 700s and just not looking good, to be honest, for any long-term future as a trade-in. Rioli, Nankervis, Lynch, Dow, McIntosh, Ross, Campbell again doing his job, a 50 yet again off of no goals. That is a good sign as well that he's doing his effort off no goals, and 4 points at quarter time to get to a 50. He's done his job. Bolter, Brown, Broad, Sonsi, Young, Leofeld and Banks. Swansea, I think, had from what I saw, I don't know whether it's true as I didn't look at the CBAs for Richmond, but I heard someone tweet about it saying that he did get some CBAs, so I'll have to look into that. But yeah, not fancy relevant. Then we move over to Sydney, and Isaac Heaney didn't do much in the second, but outside of that was really, really good. Ended up with 2 goals and 127 is probably close to a Brownlow vote, as I said earlier, but I don't know if he'll get one. Rowbottom basically held up the Swans and kept them in the game. I think he had something like 9 or 10 tackles at maybe 8 tackles at halftime, and yeah, he just went tackle in the first quarter. I think he was on like 6 or 7 tackles in the after the first quarter, and then ended up, I think, with somewhere around 20 touches and 10 to 11 tackles. So yeah, did his job basically, all he could do. Lloyd 107 was pretty good. And yeah, just showing that he can score, but it's not going to be regular. Didn't even hit his break even. Then you have Grundy 103, again winning the matchup over Sherry this week, which was positive. He could have easily probably gone and scored a 110, 115 if he scored well in the first sort of half. But I think he showed in the last quarter that he can do it. He took a couple of marks, which was absolutely perfect. He took 4 marks in the last quarter and laid one tackle. So yeah, really, really good, as well as just a lot of disposals. And he ended up with, if you look at his, if you look at this, and we quickly just go down here, he ended up with a where is it here? A 23 disposal, 4 mark, 4 tackle, 21 hit out, 103. He hasn't got any goals yet, but against West Coast that could easily change. And yeah, he could put up a big number against West Coast. And yeah, if you're looking at that, so yeah, 103 and a 91 average, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes absolutely huge against West Coast. So yeah, looking forward to that, and that will be the last of Brady Grundy that I have in my side. But with a 70 or so break even, a 65 break even maybe, I reckon he could be on for a big, yeah, let me just look, what did he score, 90 last week? So he probably is looking at probably a 70 or a 65 break even against West Coast. Could easily put up a big bomb against West Coast, and that'll get him close to the Marshall or English, but I'm probably going to go Marshall, as I said in the last video. So yeah, that'll be the plan, and hopefully I don't have to spend sort of up on sort of a yeah, that may be a plan actually. I'm just trying to formulate sort of plans in my head and going through them, as I know the guys that I've got to trade out in the next couple of weeks being Billings, Jordan, Luke Jackson, and also Brody Grundy in the next 4 weeks. And I'm trying to just think of scenarios in which I can get the players that I want in, of Flanders, Powell, Marshall, and sort of all those guys, get them in. And the way I'm thinking about it, that'll probably change 5 times over, so there's no point explaining it further. Blakey 100, he did all right. Roberts 94, butchered the ball quite a lot this round, especially in the first quarter. He was horrific by foot, but in the end got to a 94, and that's exactly what we need out of a rookie. Chad Warner 86, didn't really have any impact. Errol Goulden probably had one of his worst games, 9 turnovers, 7 clangers, just was not efficient at all. McInerney didn't think he really had too much of an impact, but yeah, ended up with a 78, sort of what he usually ends up with. Ollie Florent, a 73, again, just sort of there or thereabouts. Rowie Fox, 68, bombed a goal late in the second quarter, but that was about it. Tom Papley, 1 goal 3 for a 63. James Jordan, 60, 37 break even. He's probably, hopefully gets selected for the West Coast game so he can go off in that game, but yeah, just didn't start well. And as you see here, was on 5 halfway through the second quarter and somehow made it to a 60, which isn't the worst. But yeah, wanted to see a little bit more out of him, to be honest with you, as he did get caught. He did give away a couple of free kicks, which didn't help. Would have liked to have seen him, if he didn't give away this free kick and this free kick here, he probably ends up on a 70. And a 70 for his cash gen isn't the worst, but 60 with a 23 difference, probably going to go up to 560k. And have about 50 break even or so it isn't probably going to go up much more after that, to be honest with you. McDonald, Campbell, Hayward, Melican, Marty, McLean, Mitchell, not really at the level yet, I don't think. Really showed that he is probably not going to be fancy relevant for the next sort of 18 to 24 months, I don't think, as I think he needs some more time in the twos just to... I think he realised halfway through the game that it really is a different pace, especially with what Richmond were giving up. So, yeah, I think he spends now with Adams and Parker and Sheldrick coming back from injury in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I reckon he spends more time in the VFL and doesn't probably get another crack for a while, especially with the looks of Caden Cleary coming through and really starting to show what he can do. McCartan, Warner, and Rampy to round it out, and Rampy being injured could open up a slot for probably a Francis or a Hamling to come in, depending. I think Hamling might even be injured, so yeah, probably a Francis coming in if Rampy is out injured. But anyway, that is pretty much the video there, just going through the Richmond vs Swans game. And yeah, I'll see you guys back for the last game of the round, which starts in about in 2 or so hours. In that of the Hawthorn versus Geelong game. So I'll see you guys in that recap tomorrow. Bye, guys.